What is up, YouTubers and lovers of budget cars and bikes? Welcome back to the third in the series for this Shogun Pinin that we've been busily getting on with. Following on from the second video when we got the car back from the MOT station and then sent it off for some welding work. It is back now. It has had all that kind of stuff sorted out. I'll talk you through all that in the last video in this series, but what we're going to do in this one, hopefully, is we are going to tackle the front grille and that corner bumper down there. You'll remember from the first couple of videos, which I'll stick in up here throughout this video, there is some damage on that passenger side corner and the front grille as well, so we're going to try and sand all that off, fill it where it needs to be filled, and then spray it and polish it all back and try to make it look a little bit better, because it did really let the car down. So if you're interested in that, we're going to do something we've not done on the channel before. We're going to try some bodywork repairs. As I said, if you're interested in that, keep watching. It's going to get interesting. So essentially what we're going to have to do here is try to fill this little kind of area here. The rest of this here I'm going to fill all around here basically, and then sand it back, and then hopefully we're going to be able to just paint this. What my plan is, because this section here is obviously sectioned off, is to basically just try and do this cap, for want of a better word, tape it all up round here, and then polish all the rest of the bumper and only spray this little section here, obviously mask up this, and basically hope that it comes out the same as there. Now if it doesn't work out that way, what I'll have to do, as in if the new paint doesn't blend in with the rest of the bumper, what I'll do is I'll also do that one, because they're both sectioned off like that. All I got to do basically is make this one look a bit prettier, paint this one and paint that one so it doesn't look so odd. In other respects, if this colour here when I paint it is so much different to the rest of the bumper, if I do both of them it should match. I could of course do them in blue, because I've got the blue paint coming, and I did wonder about painting these blue, because I don't know whether, because the rest of the car is blue and silver, you could do those blue if you had to. Anyway, that's the plan. So what we're going to do, we've got some filler made up, as you can see here, far too much as always. We're going to pop some filler in there, and then we're going to wait for it to go off, and we're going to sand it back and then cut back in when we've got some kind of result. Well, it ain't pretty, it has to be said, but you know, I'm not a paintwork, bodywork type of guy. We're just going to try and make this look a bit better than it was. I've had to fill in a fair amount, as you can see there, and I found a couple of other little bits down there. The plan is to leave this area here as it is, and maybe wet and dry this, and then polish it back, and then paint this bit, because I really don't want to have to paint the whole entire bumper if I can get away with it. It may end up being that way, but you know, we're going to try this first. We're going to mask up the light, we're going to mask up all around here basically, sand this off, we're going to lay some filler primer over it as well, plastic primer, and then we're going to give it a couple of coats of this colour matched silver paint, give it a bit of lacquer on top of that, sand it back again, give it a bit of a polish the whole bumper, and then see where we are. So you know, we'll cut back in basically when I start the sanding. So, quick update, as you may have seen then from that little snippet, we've been putting some little bits of that knifing putty back in again, just in these little corners there, because I really want to try to make this as absolutely perfect as I can. One thing I will advise you, and one thing I've learned the hard way, is the preparation is everything. If you go half-assed at it and then try and paint it, it's just going to look crap. So do the very best job you can to start with, and then you'll probably end up with a much better finish. I've also noticed that I'm not really going to be able to polish this back up here because I sanded it a little bit too rough. So what I'm planning to do now is masking off this area here with a kind of like fold over tape, and then mask off this bit here, and I'm going to spray this, lacquer it, and then for the second coat of lacquer I'm going to blow in some lacquer on this top bit here, and then try and polish the whole thing back and see if it matches this colour here. So we'll come back when I start taping this up. The other thing to remember, guys, is make sure you can get the best paint quality that you can afford, basically. Each one of these colours here cost me about 20 quid. Now, you can buy them from places like Halfords for probably $4.99 and stuff like that, but these are custom made, and I wanted them the best that I could possibly get them, because I'm not painting a complete panel, so I want it to blend as much as possible. So we've done a couple of little test patterns here on the Mitsubishi blue, and we've done it on this, it's actually come through as a Jaguar silver, but that was the one that was recommended to me on one of the previous videos rather. Thank you very much for that, whoever mentioned that one. And we've done a couple of little test panels here now, and we're going to wait for these to dry off, and then we're going to offer them up to the car to see what the kind of contrast is, because I don't want to start spraying and then realise it's crap. So we've done a couple of little test panels, as you can see here, and we're basically going to wait and see how these look compared to the car once they're dried. So it's the next day, guys. We have just popped outside now just to see how this has dried off. I got to say, I love this colour. It's such a stunning colour, this cobalt blue. A couple of things I have noticed though, and you will probably spot straight away. Look at the difference in colour here. It is night and day. Now, that's new paint. That's 20-year-old paint. I don't know what I can do about it. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm never going to be able to match this up unless I take it to a body shop, and I'm not spending that kind of money. Other thing is, obviously, where I've sanded it here, I should have possibly gone over this with some 2000 and then some 3000 just to get rid of all these little scratches here that were caused by the lacquer peel that was on this top panel here. I mean, ideally what should have happened is I should have filled this like I did down here, and then I should have sanded it back and made it perfect. But as I said previously, this isn't going to be perfect. If you make this grille look perfect, the rest of the car is going to look really odd compared to it. But that's it. I mean, you know, I can't do much else apart from what I've done. I'm going to compound polish it, see if I can make it look a bit better, and hopefully once I polish the bonnet a little bit and the rest of the car, because I'm going to machine polish that, it'll look not quite so out of place, but it doesn't look great, does it really? I mean, the grille looks great, the paint's perfect, my paint job is okay, I'm quite happy with that. It's just the colour contrast, which I knew was going to be a drama. So next we move on to this and hope that that's not going to be too much of a drama, because silver and white paint tends to blend a little bit better in my experience than these deeper colours here, these block colours. So we'll chime back in once we've got all this taped up, and we're going to lay the first coat of silver base coat on and see how we get on with that. Well, as you can see, guys, slight change of plan here when it comes to what we're going to do with the paint. You will have seen in the last clip that this kind of front grille thing here, compared to the rest of the blue on the car, it was night and day. This was more of a purple cobalt kind of colour against the kind of lighter blue, which is understandable because this is, as I said, 20-year-old paint and this is brand new paint, and I just couldn't live with it. Every time I looked out of the car, excuse me, every time I looked out of the car, it just stood out like a sore thumb. So I've decided to go balls out and do the whole front bumper in silver, all up here, all the front grille. I think that's going to look better. So we've taped everything up now. I'm not going to basically film everything like I did the first bit. I'm going to put you on time lapse. We've pretty much masked everything up. I put some filler primer in this bit here, which was the original repair, as it were. Again, check back for the first video and you'll see just how bad that was. And we are basically going to put you on time lapse, and we are going to see how much better we can make this look, because I just didn't like it with the blue. So let's get on with it. So it's done. We've changed the colour on the front grille from blue to silver to match the bumper. I've got to say, I'm not overly disappointed with this silver. I put a link in the description to the guys I bought this silver from, because I think that's a really good match, considering that, as I say, this is 20-year-old paint and this isn't. This is brand new. That's not awful. That's not spiteful, as another channel would say. But I think you'll agree, it's come out okay. The bumper itself, where the repair was, that's not perfect, but as I said previously, I didn't want it to be perfect because, you know, it wouldn't naturally have been perfect, so it seemed a bit pointless to try and make it so. But I think you'll agree, looking back at the other pictures, I'll stick a little picture up here of what it looked like, this bit here, and you can judge for yourselves. We had to take the number plate off, of course, and the bolts that hold that on snapped straight off, so that was that. But we're done. We have actually changed the colour now. I've lacquered it, and I am going to wait basically a day or two for it to fully cure, and then I'm going to sand it back, polish it, see where we are, do the whole car, and then basically what we're going to do is, in the fourth video, we're going to basically go out in the car, we're going to talk about all the numbers, was it worth it, the experience I've had buying an old SUV that... was it a money pit, basically? Am I going to make any money out of it? We're going to go through all the facts and figures, you know, all the numbers, what I've spent, what I expect to get for it, and was it worth it? So we're done with this one, basically. I'm not going to bother showing you how I polish a car, because I'm sure you know how to polish a car, but that is it. We'll have another little walk around once it's clean, and we'll talk about the figures, and was it worth actually doing this old girl up, or did I lose money, or could you just do it for a bit of fun? Anyway, I hope this has been of some interest. If you haven't subscribed, do that and give the video a thumbs up. As I said, if you've subscribed, then you'll see the next video in this series, which should be in a couple of weeks' time, where we go out, we'll drive the car around a little bit, we'll have another little look once I've polished it up, like the final thoughts, as it were, and go through the facts and figures. I hope you've enjoyed it so far. Keep watching, and we'll update this in a couple of weeks' time.